done. Intro. It's intro time. Shush. Everyone shut up. What's going on, main characters? Welcome back to Third Party Podcast. It's me and the boy, the Cody.
What's up?
The one, the Redception, the McKnifey.
The one that shows up.
The one that makes it to the podcast. No, it's awesome. I'm really glad that we actually have a really, like, at a minimum, you and I could get together and do these podcasts. At a minimum, it's good to have guests on, get different perspectives, get new voices on the channel. Hopefully the audience appreciates it, but I'm glad we have a consistent podcast going right now.
Everyone else is out adulting and we're just here.
We're just here living our like childhood like fantasy of like having a podcast and being YouTube famous.
Yeah, YouTube famous. That's what I always wanted to be.
That's what you dreamed for. But no, thank you guys so much. I'm your host, Talks Too Much. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's free. It's the best way to show your support and help us grow. So don't forget to smash that like button. Share this video out there. Or chat at us in the chat. We are watching your chat and we will be answering questions if you got any on the topics we're covering. We got a lot of news to get into today. Godzilla Minus One's director is coming back for the next Godzilla project, and I'm all for it. We have a lot to talk about with Dragon Age Veilguard. There's been a lot of controversy and drama around it, and a lot of it revolves around culture war topics. And is it still an amazing game inside of all of that? We're going to talk about that for sure. We have the Avengers have assembled for Kamala Harris, and we're going to be talking about that too. We'll watch their video, do a live reaction to it. Both of us have seen it. If you haven't seen it, we'll be sharing it with you guys, and we'll be reacting to it. Lastly, David Wald, a pretty acclaimed, famous voice actor, allegedly had his mail taken from Crunchyroll, and the contents of those packages distributed amongst their employees rather than finding their way to him. He tweets about it. We'll be going over his tweets, figuring out what's going on. We'll talk about Crunchyroll's reaction to the story and their reputation as it exists. But before we get into that, let's just check in with where we're at. Cody, what have you been up with for nerd news this week? What's been on your agenda? What have you been talking about doing?
Well, besides playing Dragon Age, it's mostly just been like Batman shit, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, replaying Arkham City, or not Arkham City, Arkham Knight. And just watching the old animated series because I never finished it.
Whoa, Batman animated? So okay, did you watch Justice League and Justice League Unlimited?
I've seen parts of them, but I'm starting with the Batman, then going to go to the Superman one, then Justice League, then Unlimited.
Well, and then wait, so are you doing Batman Unlimited as your second choice? Did you say Batman Unlimited with Terry McGinnis?
No, that would be Batman Beyond.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Batman Beyond. Is Batman Beyond in your watch list? Or are you going to check that?
I've been watching that too. But yeah, I'm just going over the OGs.
Dude, I love the Return of Joker as like the Return of Joker was amazing.
Oh yeah, that movie I saw way back in the day.
So I mean, like, yeah, DC animated carried the torch for Warner Brothers. I think they got really complacent and they were like, hey, people will watch anything we create because they love these DC animated films. Let's just keep throwing money into the blender and just see what happens.
Yeah, and then they came out with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I've never seen a more boring superhero project in my life.
All of the like. Breaking that down, in the first movie, you have a bunch of Earths just being wiped out, but all of the characters are still here because they have to be, and they're saved. Then you have Constantine, who's not really relevant until the end of the second one, and even though it's really supposed to be more his coming back from being imprisoned in the House of Mystery. I don't know if you saw that movie, the House of Mystery.
Yeah, back in the day, and I've only like barely paid attention watching the second one.
So the it carries away from, you have Dark Apocalypse War, where Constantine at the end of the movie tells Flash he needs to create another Flashpoint. And as punishment for having the Flash do that, John Constantine is trapped by Spectre, a very powerful character inside the DC universe, inside the House of Mystery, and is basically forced to die over and over and over again, being killed by all the people he loves and respects. And that's like his torture. And so the House of Mystery isn't, I think it's like an anthology of like 3 different stories. I might just be getting that. I might just be misremembering. It was such a small, and it felt really insignificant when I watched it. So I definitely didn't retain a lot. The Crisis on Infinite Earths is supposed to be a continuation from that, because you have John Constantine being like, I was in the House of Mystery. I was imprisoned and now I'm out. And I'm just like, you were supposed to be there forever. What the fuck happened? It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Get back in your jail.
I don't know. I just know those movies suck ass.
They weren't good. And the third one coming out, I'm not.
It is already out.
Did it come out? I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be like, hey, I don't care about this over and over and over. I don't want to say I don't care about this stuff because I obviously do. But Crisis on Infinite Earth is so insignificant in the grand like catalog of amazing DC animated projects that a person could really be forgiven if they never watched those films.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Unless
Like once they stopped the like old series of DC and they started up this new one, it's really gone downhill.
what's your take on so obviously we grew up and the early 2000s had a very specific art style for a lot of like cartoons / superhero projects, right? It was one solid art style that pretty much carried, and
Right.
maybe they'd get a little adventurous by adding in a little CG over here or a little bit of a different drawing style over there. But now you have every project is out of continuity with its art styles. It's like every project seems to be a different art style. Arcane did it really well. They were very creative and they didn't have anything to be like tied to as far as like they had to do it this way. But I mean, every animated project seems to be going a different route.
Yeah, like with the last like DC AU, I guess you'd call it. They had one art style that they continued through a shitload of movies, so you knew that
Yeah.
was in the continuity.
Even if they changed the character design a little bit, you still knew. Yes, to your point. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I actually like that art style a hell of a lot more than what they're doing now.
Well, do you think we're just biased because we grew up with that style? I mean, because that
Well, I
is
didn't really watch a whole lot of that shit when I was young.
fair point. So it's it's less nostalgic to you.
Right.
For me, it's not even nostalgia. It's just a preference of the art style. But I do look at like The Legend of Vox Machina. I know you're not into the show. I think you tried season 1. Did you make it? Did you finish it?
I finished season 1 and like 2 or 3 episodes of 2.
Okay, so you tried. You gave it a good crack.
I tried, damn it.
You gave it your best shot. I mean, that's how I feel about like The Penguin. I gave it my best shot.
Yeah.
It's a good show. I respect it. I acknowledge the fan base is really in love with it. Haven't heard you talk about The Penguin at all for a while.
No one else wants to talk about it.
Fair enough. That's more my fault.
It's
I
kind
guess.
of funny. Like,
I love how you victim blame me. It's like I'm the victim
I'm
here.
the victim.
It's my fault.
Yeah, I mean the episode comes out Sunday nights, and like this last one, a lot of shit went down on it. And even throughout the week of like all the podcasts and like news and shit that I listened to, no one talked about the Penguin until last night on FNT.
Fair enough.
I was like, what the fuck, man? You guys all love it. No one's talking about it.
Well, I there's a lot of reasons I should actually like it. The acting is good. The setting is fine. It's good. It's a good Gotham setting, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
a better Gotham than Nolan's trilogy.
no, it's not.
Dude, that was just Chicago in
Right,
Nolan's trilogy.
but it was also just a rich guy in a $1 billion suit of armor and a tank. It's like yes,
I'm talking about Gotham itself, the city.
yeah.
It was just Chicago. There was nothing special about it. And this one, it actually feels more Gotham-y.
Fair enough, but I mean, Nolan was going for a more grounded, more realistic version. He wasn't trying to emulate
This
Gotham
one is,
perfectly.
too.
I think actually,
In the first Batman Begins, was very Gotham-esque.
yes, that's true, and I think going away from that, I don't think was a problem. I
mean, I don't care that much about it, but it was just
right, but I mean, yes, the setting is good. There's reasons I should like Penguin. I think my biggest gripe is
characters, good writing,
I think I just find like the interactions.
cinematography.
I think I find the interactions incredibly awkward. I think that's my issue. Is I find his interactions just awkward.
I find all your interactions very awkward.
That's why. That's why you don't watch. That's why. No. So okay. So the Penguin's still going strong. I mean, I think the audience is.
2 episodes left, yeah.
Yeah. So it's an 8 episode season, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So back to the art style, because I know I forced us off the segue a little bit. What is your take on? Oh, actually, Vox Machina. I was making a point with that. So Vox Machina, like the original series that they're doing right now, is in one art style, but they've already announced they're gonna do another animated project with an entirely different art style. And I'm sitting here
with different characters too.
yes. So
Then I don't really have a problem with it.
well, Vox Machina is one of the campaigns,
Right.
and then I think it's the Mighty Nine is another, and I think there's a third. I might even be far enough behind to not know if there's a fourth. Or there's a bunch of spin-off episodes they did where they do one shots because it's all D&D, and then they're just turning it into their cinematic project.
Mhm.
So I think that first off, I'm so in love with the way these guys did their project and did Vox Machina that I really wish they would just keep that. I wish they'd hold on to it. If they internally just decided they really like this other art style, I don't have a problem with them just doing what they prefer to do as creators, especially considering where they started, right? They started in a kitchen with like a podcast setup with microphones, just sitting down playing D&D, and they became this cult following of like the Dungeons and Dragons icons. Like they're like, if you want to role play, this is how you role play because we're famous voice actors. We know how to do it.
We're famous voice actors.
And they are. I mean,
we know everything.
Right? Matthew Mercer was McCree, I think, in Overwatch. I mean, like they're very like just as an example.
Oh shit! If he was, they changed McCree's name because of some allegations.
No, I don't. I think he did I don't know. I thought he did the voice acting, but I thought the creator of the character was the problem. Like the guy who like created the character fundamentally.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because they didn't revoice him. They just renamed the character, and so
just blame it on the one guy we know.
But no, so I think these changing in art styles, I don't think they're lending any value to the industry except just to get some Hollywood creators and like just to get them to nut.
Well, with the Infinite Earths, it just looks cheaper in my opinion.
It really does.
It's really stale.
It is, yeah. The fight scenes,
worlds feel empty.
Not live. Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Right. So for me, Black Ops 6 has pretty much dominated my free time outside of like running the YouTube channel stuff. So it's Black Ops 6. I grinded so hard to get the knife, like all the camos for the knife unlocked, to find out that you can't unlock all of the camos for the knife unless you unlock the camos for the other melee weapon, which is a bat.
You got to go Negan on people's asses.
I had to go Negan. It's not even a cosmetic, like it's just an aluminum bat. It's like horrible.
That's got to be a cosmetic.
Who
steals a iconic weapon at this point?
Well, the game is only like a week and a half old.
True.
So I mean, absolutely. But actually, that's its own news. Call of Duty already released I think it's a week 1 update. I think it's like a week 1 update where they have triple XP, double XP tokens coming out. Triple XP. Yeah, I haven't confirmed that. So, but I read that on a Twitter post where they were talking about the updates for week 1 patches, and they had Nuketown being added to the map pool, and they have a Nuketown 24/7, which is awesome. I've spent so much freaking time there. The issue with grinding the knife camo, trying to get to the bat camo, was the bat doesn't unlock until the 3rd to last level as you're ranking up. And ranking up in this game without XP tokens is a slog fest. It is so hard to grind. So I had to combo up a bunch of perks. Like if you run 3 red perks, right? You get perk 1, 2, 3. If you run 3 of those perks that are red in combination, you get an unlocked ability in addition to it. You get a 4th perk effectively. That gives you passive score, passive score and passive XP for getting like for decoys being successful, for getting scramblers or UAV kills, or like assists. Basically any assists created by score streaks, stuff like that.
It
decoys.
Sounds like a casino with like dopamine rush. It's like, you want numbers, bitch? We got numbers,
dude. You run it. So you go in hardcore kill confirmed. Every tag you get is like double the normal value.
Jesus.
And it also makes your score streaks lower. So you get to your UAV, your counter UAV, and your harp much faster. And every UAV kill that someone gets gives you an assist, but that assist also generates you 50 to 100. Streak. Yeah, it also, and score streaks feed into each other. That's the important thing. Score streaks feed into each other. So if you get UAV counter UAV and that unlocks your harp, you die, then you use your harp, you're going to feed back your UAV and counter UAV. And the point of that was all of this extra scoring in the game counts towards XP. So it's a huge boon in trying to XP grind up. So that got me to just yesterday. So 4 days in, I was able to get the bat unlocked, and I started using it. This thing sucks so hard. I hate this thing. I hate the bat. It's horrible. The mechanic is so crap. Like, the bat is actually glitched out to where when I had to reopen the game because when I go into my camos, it kicks me out of my loadout menu.
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't adjust my loadouts. I couldn't click on camo to search my options. Boom, you're kicked out. And so that was frustrating. So I had to restart the game just to like look at the bat camos to see what all I need to unlock to get the knife worked on again.
We play games so differently.
Yeah,
especially Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
'Cause I play as like, I like this gun. I'm gonna use it for a while. Maybe I'll switch it up later. You're about, I need to unlock everything for everything as fast as I possibly can.
Well, the knife, like, first off, there are YouTubers who do this 24/7. This is their day job. They just live stream or they record and make YouTube content, but their only mission is just to get these camos unlocked as fast as possible so they can start making fun content with the gun.
I suppose you want a flashy gun in your thumbnail.
Well, I want the knife. The knife is the only accolade I actually give a shit about, and obviously I want the audience to enjoy the live streams. Grinding for the knife is anti-fun. It's like
I can't stream yet because I'm doing this.
I can't stream yet. So I mean, honestly, so we actually talked about this. Like, I was gonna go and start doing weekly live streams on Wednesdays for Black Ops 6. Can't do it. There's not enough time in my day. I've got too many other projects I'm doing. I need any time I have that is free on Wednesdays. I need to decompress because everything else is either full-time job or doing everything for the YouTube channel as far as like making the thumbnails to get everything posted. So. And I want to create better content on the channel too. So I want to make more good shorts. I want to edit the thumbnails better. I want to make like this content better. Like everything, anything I could do to make it better, I want to work towards that. So that may appear on my calendar like free time, but it's really just decompressing. And most of the time I actually still use it towards the channel. So it's like that and Fridays aren't even usually a day off. So, I mean, I'm having fun with it. I'm not at all complaining about it. We couldn't do another live stream on the channel consistently. So that's yeah. And I really want to, if you get back into My Hero Academia after Veilguard is over, really want to talk to you about those projects. I really think that we could do some colored commentary after, like, you record a win. We do colored commentary on the gameplay after it's been recorded. Like, voice that over.
Yeah,
super fun.
I dipped back into that Friday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning after Veilguard.
Yeah.
You dominate for a while, and then you start to suck more and more and more, and then you start like getting really pissed off, and I'm like yelling.
I played in ranked, but stopped caring about my rank. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not.
I can't without a full team. I can't go higher than I already am with just
exactly. So it's like, and honestly, the rewards aren't good enough to justify the grind. It's like you're gonna get rolls, but I think you've already unlocked every character you want, or close to every character you want.
Not yet.
I still have a lot of characters to unlock, but you're not going to get enough roll cards or roll tickets to matter, and you're just going to get cosmetics anyway.
They put this exchange thing in, but let's see, every 100 cards gets you 10 rolls, and that goes towards your exchange, so you have like 10 points in your exchange.
Yeah.
But to unlock a character through the exchange, you have to do 200 of those 10.
Yeah,
so it's it's an insane amount of tickets.
And I think
it's like 2,000 tickets.
I think they'll fix it. As they add more characters, they'll want more people to roll and unlock the characters, and they understand that, like, the casino.
No, they want you to buy.
Well, the casino wants you to win just enough to keep you there. And that's what like loot crate systems are. This game feels like a developer who doesn't know how to operate a loot crate system, giving you a loot crate system that will never feed you the rewards you're actually trying to get.
Yeah, I kind of threw down the game the Thursday night because like I rolled a 10 ticket or 10 rolls, and one's supposed to be like a rare or whatever. So it's like, oh, might get another new character. No, it was just a fucking voice line that was like super rare. It's like, oh,
if they're not going to rebalance Hawks, there's also no reason to jump back in.
True.
It's like Hawks is just going to win, and I don't want to play as Hawks. I actually tried it, had no fun, hated it. All right. We are going to jump into our first story here. So the first story we are going to be talking about is your boy, the Godzilla.
The big ass lizard.
Godzilla Minus One director, Toho comes back. No, wait, no, Toho is the studio. Yeah. Toho is the studio. Takashi Yamazaki is the director who created Godzilla Minus One. Godzilla Minus One is unequivocally my favorite of those movies, of all of them. There's not a Godzilla that stacks up to it in my opinion. And you might be like, what about
2001 with Matthew Broderick?
I was like, fuck Matthew Broderick. I don't know.
That's the first one I've ever seen.
Mine too. I mean,
that's some nostalgia for that movie.
That's the generation we grew up in. But I mean, they couldn't even afford to put the Godzilla face on the cover art of the movie. They had to put his foot on it.
That might be one of my favorite designed Godzillas.
I think that's fair. I actually really like the 2014.
Angular.
I think the 2014 one kind of made him like, sure, he's a giant lizard, but he's also like you watch Godzilla fight, he fights with like his fists and stuff in like a lot of older films.
Yeah, because it's a dude in a suit.
I know, but and I mean, even in Godzilla Minus One, he's like basically a T-Rex shaped creature. So I like the 2014 design. I don't know if I could really make a good argument for why it's like my favorite.
Yeah, I gotta finish this movie. I haven't finished it yet.
Godzilla Minus One. I last spotted it on Netflix. They had the English voice dubbed, so you can watch it in English.
Don't be gay.
No, well, here's what I'll say about the English dub. The English dub is bad in like it's so obvious that it's dubbed. It's impossible to not notice it. That's what I mean by bad. There were shows on Netflix, like Barbarian was a show that I think was originally in Dutch. So they did an English dub for that. You could probably watch that show without and forget about it being an English dub.
I mean, in live action, I'd say always watch the original subtitle version.
Yeah.
But in anime, I think it doesn't fucking matter to me.
This movie is so like artistic and just really well done. The CGI in this film, the only thing in the CGI in this film I don't like is the eyes of Godzilla. It's really like, it's a small nitpick, and it's really not even nitpicky. I'm just saying that's just like, hey, look at that flag in the background, doesn't belong there, right?
Well,
it's so small and insignificant, it doesn't actually matter, but it's a attention to detail thing.
It looks a lot better than 90% of movies that come out that have $200+ million budgets, when this one had 15 or below. 15 or below.
It had a runtime it had a runtime in theaters in its original Japanese. Then it had a runtime in its original Japanese in noir. So it had
white.
It had black and white. So it had 2 runs in theaters in its original version. Then you put it on Netflix. It's got the English dub, which I don't think even the studio probably was thinking this was not going to be a huge thing. I mean, they put it in theaters, but it wasn't even a major release, right? They didn't do a lot of marketing. This movie had such strong legs strictly from word of mouth, and it's a overseas film in the original Japanese language. It's a subtitled movie.
It's rare when those movies that come from the East become mainstream. Like, I remember in 2019 when Parasite came out.
Yeah.
That was like the biggest hit. And it won Best Picture, but who cares about the Oscars?
Right.
But yeah, I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll turn it on. It was a fucking really good movie.
This movie, yeah. And this movie carries hard. Like, you feel for it. You feel the disaster of everything. You feel like Godzilla is the enemy of the story, whereas the 2014 and beyond, the MonsterVerse is the MonsterVerse version of Godzilla. Now you have Kong in it. You're gonna have other monsters. You have a lot of other monsters already added into the series, into the universe. But that movie series, that universe is turning into Fast and Furious.
I was just gonna say
it's like the Godzilla Kong dynamic. It's a buddy cop film.
Yeah, it's The Rock and Vin Diesel.
It's The Rock and Vin Diesel.
They hate each other.
Rock and Jason Statham probably more accurate because they had their own Hobbs movie, or Calvin and Hobbs.
Calvin and Hobbs. Whatever the fuck it's
Hobbs and Shaw. But yeah, so the newer Godzilla films are just nightmarishly bad in that storytelling context.
2014, I think, had it had potential. Like, there was some amazing like shots and cinematography.
You Bryan Cranston in it for a minute.
Yeah, you kill him off, and then the whole movie just kind of sucks ass after.
Yeah, the villain in that movie, like the bug monsters, they have names. I'm not trying to just not remember their names, but I am forgetting. That Godzilla had to fight. It was like the male and the female like had to come together and make billion babies.
A couple of kaijus fuck in the city.
It was a good time though.
I think the best one out of the MonsterVerse was actually Skull Island.
What?
Nobody likes that movie.
Skull Island. Wait, is Skull Island the one with Jack Black?
No, that's Peter Jackson's 2005 movie.
That one. Well, that movie, I love. I thought that movie was really good.
I was young when I watched it, and I haven't gone back. I don't think I appreciated it.
It's a 3-hour Godzilla film. There's Kong. Oh, a 3-hour Kong film. Yes, and it's not a part of the MonsterVerse, so it's not relevant to like the current generation of films. But it was still. I thought it was still really good. I thought it was great CGI for the time. The T-Rex versus Kong fight is iconic. I think that fight was amazing.
Very true.
Kong fights 3 T-Rex.
The fucking bug scene was ugh.
I mean, yes, but it was powerful and it was memorable.
Right.
And it's not memorable it's not memorable for being for grossing you out. It's memorable because it's like it's a pretty intense scene.
Yeah, I think it was also the first movie after Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, so there were very high expectations.
Well, I don't know how well the movie performed. We'd
I don't
have to
think it did
dig in
well,
and look
but-
into it, but and here's something I think you guys will really appreciate. Here is the official announcement from Godzilla official at Godzilla Toho. You guys are gonna appreciate this. Let's make sure do a quick.
臨時ニュースを申し上げます。
Yeah,
That's it. I love it ends with further updates to follow. I love that. No, it's,
Well, with this sequel, he's gonna get an even bigger budget. So,
I think that's a mistake. I think so.
well, I want to go like balls to the wall with it. Give him like 20 mil.
Yeah, I mean, like,
need $100 million to make a good movie.
but I think that having a restrictive budget, I've heard that argument be made by famous directors that forces creativity out of it forces creativity out of everybody.
'Cause
Everybody.
Otherwise, if you got $200 million, just be like, shoot whatever, and then we'll CGI it.
I also think that this should be I think this should be done and directed in Japan. I don't know if that's in question.
Well, it's Toho Studios.
Right. So it should be done in Japan. They should do it whatever they did the first time. That do it again, but
They ain't broke though. Yeah, whatever.
do it again, but different. No, so Godzilla Minus One, obviously, spoiler
And
alert.
it's coming back to theaters.
Yeah. So the Godzilla, this is just a new Godzilla film. This isn't necessarily a continuation of the Minus One Godzilla.
Not that we know of.
Not that we know of. So there's no extra details that we've got. We have Takashi talking in this one. He's going to be talking in Japanese. So again,
皆さんにお知らせがあります。
hello everyone. I have wonderful news. I will be directing the new Godzilla film.
楽しみにしていて
Please stay
ください
tuned.
よろしくお願いします。
They just
These are the best announcements.
These are-
like, here's what's up.
Yeah.
Bye.
they are just burying us with information right now. How are we ever going to parse through all this for you guys, the audience? No. So
Well, what also happened in the first movie is like scroll up a little bit here.
sure.
Right there. So he was the writer director, but he was also this VFX supervisor.
Mhm.
So when you have a director that understands visual effects, you get a lot cleaner product because you know how things should be shot, or like you bring in your CGI guys and they'll be like making notes while you're shooting and shit. And
Yeah.
whatnot. So it helps to have a director that
Understands the concepts of it.
Yes.
Well, I think that's what made Peter Jackson, like if we're talking about Peter Jackson at least a little bit in this conversation, we could point to the Lord of the Rings films, and Godzilla Minus One is not on the same page as Lord of the Rings. However, when you look at Peter Jackson's, like the way he attacked that trilogy, he does all the films as one run, and he runs it from the setting. The special effects, I think people like gripe on the special effects too much from the fact that it was like a 2003 project.
I mean, it's aged incredibly well.
It's aged so well.
Show me one bad CGI shot.
Well-
Maybe the first time you see Gollum.
No, the
yeah.
the bad CGI. So the strongest case against, or the strongest case for bad CGI in that film is the Siege of Minas Tirith in Return of the King, when you have the orc army in the background.
Oh yeah, when you got
It's copy and pasted like the because they did just have like a stack of people and they just kept cutting it over and over.
That's a quick shot though. I don't even. Really
It's
notice it.
insanely quick. You pan over, and it's really just a panning shot. You go to Denethor, who's on the wall. He looks down, and he's like, "Don't do it."
Yeah, I think the second time you see the whole army is when Rohan shows up. So
And I mean that shot is actually better. So
that's the one I was thinking of, where it's like, I don't really.
So I mean, there are cases
whatever.
to complain about the CGI, but I mean, Minus One, the way you get creative about it is what is going to make your film phenomenal.
Mhm.
When you have a studio and they're just like, here's $500 million, go make something that's going to make $1 billion. Never happens. Never happens, because it's not art. You know, art is a very difficult term to like play with when you're having a conversation about films and stuff, because everyone wants to make the conversation about the subjective nature, about like genres, topics. This
Yeah.
actor did good, this actor did bad. Like,
I mean, when we talk about art, you got to bring in that, like, you know, modern art. You know, that
Yeah.
people go to those shows, and there's like some dude like left his tennis shoe on the floor, and then people started crowding around it because it's
Ooh.
like, oh my god, this is art. There worked like there's another exhibit where it's like two dented cans on the floor
Yeah.
in a specific position, and the janitor came by and threw them away, thinking that.
okay.
And he actually had to dig the cans out and have the artist replace them back on the floor.
Someone
So it's like if some people consider that art,
Someone nailed a banana to a wall, I think, was one piece of art.
something to do with femininity. I bet.
I thought that was Banksy, actually. I thought it's probably not, because that's not even close to what I would normally expect. But I for some reason, I'm remembering the banana nailed to the wall story, and Banksy's in my mind.
Banksy's overrated.
He's very, in my mind, yeah, he's very overrated. Absolutely. I think I like the stunts he pulls, like when he had a shredder inside of one of his most famous paintings.
Oh,
and then at the auction, it goes for a few $1 million, and then it starts to shred.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's pretty damn cool. But that's just a stunt. That's not necessarily the art of that's not necessarily art. But
Right.
I think you could probably say there's an expression in how he destroyed his painting. But I
Fuck
don't.
capitalism and the bourgeoisie.
You guys are so rich. You want my art? Shred it. Well,
Well, Banksy's probably got so much money that he doesn't even need it either.
well, and I think there's a case for. I think there's an argument to be made for vandalism. I'm like, it was owned by someone else.
Someone did buy.
Someone committed that money. You can't escape that commitment. Like if you're in an auction house, you
Right.
can't. If you raise, I believe that there's some. I believe that if you commit to that, you actually are obligated. There's legal obligations there. So I think in the same way you own it, and then Banksy destroyed your painting. So arrest him for destroying $1 million art piece.
Fuck that guy.
But the
It's like those stop oil protesters.
oh no, we can't. We can't. I'll segue too hard. I'll segue way too hard. The Godzilla Minus One film, the news of it is that the announcement was made that Takashi is going to be returning as the director, and that's huge. For Godzilla, Godzilla Minus One is really the only project I loved from Godzilla.
Yeah.
And
Godzilla sucks.
Yeah. Actually, and continuing on this topic, we are gifted by Rotten Tomatoes. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. All Godzilla movies ranked by their Rotten Tomatoes score. So
Oh God, here we go.
let's start with Godzilla Minus One at a 99%.
Oh shit.
First off, it's a crit, and that's a critic score, so I don't believe that's the audience score.
Audience has got to be close to the same though.
It really does, because I mean, you got people who were viewing it. I mean, you might have the douchebag who's in there's like, why isn't it in English? But I mean,
Yeah, right.
but I
I
think
like that poster.
this is it's a beautiful shot. Then we have Godzilla from 1954 with a 94 critic score. The internet wasn't. How did they get this score when the internet wasn't around when that film was coming out?
They were going back. It's like Citizen Kane, I think, is like #2 on this site and whatnot. It's like
Right.
people just go back and review it.
Shin Godzilla, 2016. I actually did not see this film. However, there was a lot of discussion about which of the Godzillas is the most powerful, and my understanding is that Shin ranked really high on that list. So
Yeah, I don't know anything about this movie.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, 96% or 86%. Then we have 100% here. I don't think they know how to rank order. Godzilla versus Destoroyah. Mothra.
These are gonna be like a lot of cheese ones.
Pre 90s, pre 2000s. So I'm just gonna go down until we find one that's in our current generation. So the 2003. This isn't the one with Matthew Broderick.
Holy shit, it's way down there.
Okay, so
Godzilla versus Kong.
at 2013, Godzilla versus Kong with a 76, and then Godzilla in 2014 tying it at a 76 as well. So these movies
Have
are
you seen Godzilla versus Kong?
yeah. I didn't care for it. I thought the introduction of Kong and like when Godzilla and Kong meet and Godzilla's on a boat chained to it in the middle of the
Oh, yeah,
freaking
yeah.
ocean.
And
I was
then
like,
they fight on the helicopter.
well, I'm just like, King Kong loses. Like, King Kong loses on land. Like, he loses on land. Why is he alive after that? Why is there still a boat? Like, and why is, like, the boat just acting like a very buoyant piece of wood being
Yeah.
attacked by a shark? It's like,
You gotta throw physics out the window when you're watching these movies.
you really
But
do.
I think Godzilla 2014 is a superior film.
In my opinion, I agree entirely. I think it has a better cast. I think it tells a better story. I think Godzilla versus Kong is a continuation and a building of the franchise. So
Yeah.
this is like the Avengers is going to be bigger than Iron Man or Captain America. It's because it's got the fan bases of both coming together. Kong and Godzilla were both independent films until they were brought together by this project. Godzilla Planet of Monsters. I actually loved this series. This was a Netflix.
That's just like a 3-part
yeah,
thing, right?
but each one of them is an hour and a half. So I mean,
They're damn near their own movies.
yeah. I actually really liked that story. But then then it goes on and it just keeps going. So
Oh, there's a fuckload of.
there's so
I
many.
gotta see where 2000 is. No, not Godzilla 2000, but the
right,
one with
the Matthew Broderick. Okay, 50. Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire at 54%. That's a very Rotten Tomato.
Very, very rotten.
I don't. Godzilla King of
That
Monsters.
was all right.
That
I'd say
was-
it's better than
Some of the other, yeah,
Yeah.
It's better than the combined projects. King of Monsters actually was, I thought, pretty good because
it's
didn't
more fun.
they brought Ghidorah in on there it is.
There it is. That's the last one.
20% at the bottom of the list. Okay, hold on. Bottom of the list. Godzilla 1998 at a 20% Rotten Tomato score.
I got the consensus. Without compelling characters or heart, Godzilla stomps on everything that made the original or any monster movie worth its salt a classic.
Whoa, that's harsh, dude.
Well, Roland Emmerich directed. He's not very well loved.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we thought since we were going to be talking about Godzilla Minus One and the news surrounding it, that you guys would appreciate that we would go through and just see what Rotten Tomatoes is saying about the rank ordering of everything. We didn't obviously deep dive into each movie. There's 35 movies here, or almost 40 movies here. So, but I hope you guys
I
appreciate
gotta
it.
go back and watch the Matthew Broderick one now.
Yeah, I mean, it might be a 20% film, and you'll turn it off right away.
It might be better than all the MonsterVerse that they got going on.
Right. So hope you guys appreciated us going into Godzilla Minus One. That's honestly a project I am now actually stoked for. You didn't have to work hard to sell me on that project. You just had to tell me that it was going to be comparable to the first one in its creativity and its direction. That's probably all you had to tell, because I didn't fall in love with the first one for the acting. Like, I didn't understand what anyone was fucking saying. It's like, I fell in love with it because of the story. I fell in love with it because of the premise. And I think it was the best version of Godzilla.
You can't tell if someone's being a good actor if they're speaking a different language.
Well, I can't tell how. Well, keep in mind, the dub is not them acting. So you have a voice actor and an actor.
Oh, I thought you watched the Japanese.
I watched the original. I watched the English dub. I wanted to pay attention to the scenes. I didn't necessarily care about the dialogue breakdown. Like, the dialogue breakdown is far less relevant than what's actually happening.
I always never get that. It's like, I can't watch movies with subtitles, so I'm staring at the subtitles all along. It's
Dude,
like, how slow of a reader are you?
Dude, I watch shows with dub titles. Like, I watch anime in the original.
Subtitles.
What?
With dub titles.
Did I say dub titles? I watch shows with subtitles all the time.
Right.
Like, but if I'm going to sit down and I want to get the most out of it, I'm going to watch it in the original English, because I want to. Like, you're not reading and seeing what's happening at the same time. That's just not. I mean, that's just not happening.
I don't know. I guess I do it so much that it doesn't bother me or anything.
Maybe you're just a superior human.
Yeah,
superior,
I'm just better than you.
better ginger jeans. Better ginger jeans.
I mean, it's a low bar.
All right, I think this podcast might run a little long. We got a lot to talk
Oh,
about.
shit. Yeah.
You good with that? All right. Let's jump into our next story. We are going to be talking about Dragon Age Veilguard. And holy smokes.
The shitstorm surrounding it.
Okay, complete disclosure. I have not played any of the Dragon Age Veilguard or Dragon Age games, but my understanding, so you have played all of them or most of them?
I played all of them.
Okay, so you're going to have to carry this one a bit, but I definitely have a lot of questions about this. Let's start with our first article just to start the conversation. So, Dragon Age: The Veilguard player count dwarfed by Monster Hunter Wilds beta.
Which doesn't surprise me. Monster Hunter is a huge IP.
It's a huge IP. I mean, the Xbox release of the what was the Monster Hunter game that came out on
World.
Xbox? World. I mean, that was my first interaction with the Monster Hunter universe. I knew it existed, but I didn't care. I played Monster Hunter World, and it just was like, kill this monster, grind for material,
Yeah,
upgrade.
that's all the game is.
It wasn't a fun game loop for me, but I mean, we like Snipeaholic, friend of ours who comes on the channel, Tyler, loves Monster Hunter. I think that's his favorite franchise besides like Avatar: The Last Airbender. So I mean, he's talking about this game, talking about the beta. He's really excited for it.
I'm gonna end up playing it. I know I will.
Monster Hunter is so much better than Dragon Age. Is that the contention here? Is that it's just
No.
a bigger franchise? Or
It's a bigger franchise. I like Dragon Age franchise more than I like the Monster Hunter franchise.
Well, a beta release of a game is not typically a blockbuster sensation. It's not typically a huge moment. Like, a beta release is like Call of Duty Black Ops 6 had the beta, and you had a lot of YouTubers playtesting it. But it was just kind of still only like a
Was it an open beta?
I think, yeah, it was an open beta. They were running the multiplayer. I mean, X Defiant had an open beta. I mean, but I wouldn't have expected a beta to beat any major release game that's especially as popular as Dragon Age.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Monster Hunter would do gangbuster numbers, but also Dragon Age is not doing great when it comes to numbers.
Really?
Peak player count is like in the 70,000s.
Whoa.
Yeah, for a AAA game. It's tied right now with fuck, what was that game? Never mind. I can't remember.
Right.
But it was tied with a game that
Concord. No, I'm kidding. But so you and I have talked about this off podcast. I mean, your sentiment around the game is generally positive.
Yeah, I can give what my positive bits about it before we get into like the culture war and the shit things about it.
Absolutely. I really want to know like your honest, true takes on this game as someone who's played all the Dragon Age games, and just kind of how maybe even give me a sense of where this exists rank ordered in the Dragon Age games, because I don't know how many there are in total, but I don't know where this stands.
Four.
This is the fourth game or fourth place.
Fourth game.
Go ahead though. Yeah, talk to me about it. What's going on?
Well, so full disclosure, I'm not super far into the game. I haven't recruited all the companions yet. The last one to get, and I probably should have did this one last night instead of the other one, is the trans person in question.
Okay. So the trans person is one of your how many companion options?
7.
And you can have all of those companions at a time, or is it like?
Well, you only take 2 of them out in the field with you.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So it's like it's one of 7.
They're just hanging around the base otherwise.
Okay, so Baldur's Gate in that context, right?
Yeah,
like you have
shit.
more companions than you need in your party.
Mhm.
Okay.
But otherwise, all the companions so far, I don't mind any of them. One's a little annoying because she's like constantly like she's ADHD personified, I would say.
So the voice actor got paid overtime.
Yeah, it's the voice actor. I think that she also did that one store clerk in Fallout 3 in
Oh, okay.
Megaton.
Yep.
Super annoying in that one too. So I think it's just her. That's what.
It's just a voice actor.
That's what she is hired for. Just be this annoying, high energy person. But other than that, all the companions I think are fine. Only bad voice acting was like early in the game. You run into these elves, and this one chick is just like, "Wow, you didn't get any direction at all."
No.
It's just all over the place. But
Is acquiring a companion in the game elective, or in order to complete the game you must unlock all your
they're part of the
companions?
story mission so far.
Okay, so it was you're destined or required to achieve acquiring this companion.
Right, like the last 2 companions, you are getting experts in certain fields, and
Mhm.
so it's part of the main story also. So you have to get them.
Okay, so
How much you interact with them so far, I'm seeing that you don't have to talk to them all the time. It's basically like they get like a bubble over the head on the map. It's like, hey, you want to talk to this person? So
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna avoid a lot of this shit. But otherwise, when it comes to like creating your character or role playing,
Mhm.
character creation and art design, I'm okay with. A lot of people were bitching about how it looks more like Fortnite-y.
Well, and it stems away from, because Dragon Age doesn't have a static art style, right? Like
Nah, it
other
changes
games
every
have.
time.
Yeah, it changes every time. So this one goes away from that. Do you think the art style choice was a creative choice to improve the game, or do you think it was trying to cater to an audience who prefers that art style?
I think it was trying to go for a more younger crowd.
Try to reinvigorate the franchise with the younger people.
Yeah, because Dragon Age is a dark fantasy series, and it's the art style kind of more like livens it up.
The arts, when I was watching gameplay of it, the art, I would make the case that it's similar in art style to like Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah, it's around that area.
At
But-
least the like the setting stuff. I don't know about the character design being identical. I don't think the character design is too identical, but the setting design is almost the same.
Character design looks all right. It is very smooth and clean.
Which we like.
I mean, I would say like you look like almost like a doll sometimes.
Oh, okay, that's what you meant. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like
it's too smooth and like.
I thought you meant like in how it plays.
No,
Okay.
it does play well. But yeah, in the gameplay, I was gonna say something else about the. Oh,
Does this game give you more to do than other Dragon Age games? Like, is there a fractional difference in the amount of content you get for your dollar, or is it about the same as or is it a lot more, or is it? Because with modern games, it seems to be the case.
well, it's less than Inquisition because Inquisition basically wanted to be a single player MMO,
Oh, okay.
and so there's a fuckload of quests in these massive regions,
Hmm.
and people got turned off like on that. There was they call it the hinterlands problem. It's the first area that you're in on Dragon Age Inquisition, and you can spend 10 hours straight in that
first area.
Yeah,
That's the same issue.
the developers had to come out and say, leave the hinterlands, don't go wandering around, continue the story, then come back to it.
Okay.
People are getting burned out hard on it.
Well, okay, so that problem exists in other games. Baldur's Gate 3 being the most relevant and current example, because in Baldur's Gate 3, if we've talked about this in the past, if you want to create a new character, you have to replay Act 1, and it's the same content. It's not like, I mean, you could play through it differently, but you're still interacting with the exact same goblins, the exact same tieflings, the exact same drow. So
A lot of the same dialogue.
Exactly. So like you can only replay. I can only replay the first act so many times before I'm just like, listen, I just accept that I am not gonna get to Act 3. And actually, we looked at a statistic last night on this. As of August of this year, so only a couple months ago, only 22% of all players who played Baldur's Gate 3 had completed the game, had completed the story. That means Act 3 has not been touched by a majority of the audience.
78% of players.
Finished by less than a quarter of them.
Yeah,
So-
well, playing this game, I was also kind of like, I think I was around the 10-hour mark, and I just compared it to Inquisition. I was like, at hour 8 in Inquisition, you already have, I think you have almost all your companions by then, and you move to your main base. So like a lot happens. And I was like, if I'm about at that 8-10 hour mark here, that means I got like another 30-40 hours of the game left. And if I'm doing everything, probably even more. So was still very...
There's still a lot to do.
Yeah, I think I'm only like 13-14 hours in with my main character because I swapped. But yeah, the combat is really fluid. It's
Right.
very action-based. It's not tactical like at all. You pause the game for like 2 seconds to issue commands to your companions that can't die.
Right.
By the way, they don't have health bars or anything. They're immortal. And it dumbs it down for you too, where it's basically like, hey, this attack combos with this attack. So it's like you don't have to think about anything at all, which kind of sucks. But if you just want to get with the flow, I guess it works. I'm not much of a strategy gaming guy anyway.
No, I mean, we leave that to Slim. I mean, have you ever seen that guy talk about like Age of Empires? Like Age of Empires has all these percentage-based bonuses that stack and stuff. And and also Diablo 4 is actually a better example of this because he did this and that. He knows how to like class build or character build or optimize his strategies around these stacked percentages that he can keep building up and like getting multiplicative improvements.
Right.
So it's absolutely frustrating.
And that's where you are left in the dust.
He's so much better at it than I am. I mean, like even Call of Duty, even Black Ops 6 has like perks that feed into other perks, and we talked about like XP bonuses and stuff during the intro. But I mean, Slim's just significantly better than me at it.
Yeah. And then combat in this game, I mean, it's changed with every Dragon Age so far.
To be
like, I think Origins and Inquisition are the closest ones together.
Just to talk about the strategy game thing, like I like strategy games that are simple. I don't want to think about what troops mesh better or worse against each other so much as I want to be like I like strategy simplified to positional advantage. So like you get your archers on the higher hill, you get your cavalry behind your opponent.
Right.
Like I like strategic in that context. So like Total War, I've had some success in Total War. I'm not good at it. I've played quite a bit, but I'm not that great at it. But like Command and Conquer, I'm awesome at Command and Conquer. Love those games. That's
it's more like smaller military units, right?
Exactly.
You're not dealing with hundreds of.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, but Bannerlord, it's in Bannerlord. It's like, hey, your archers benefit from being higher. Your character applies strategic bonuses to these characters and boosts morale. You can command and even lead your cavalry. All that stuff is things I really like about the strategy universe. Not to derail the Veilguard conversation so harshly. Sorry about that.
But yeah, it's way more action focused. Plays more like God of War 2018 and stuff than any of the other Dragon Ages. And people are probably gonna be pissy about that too.
Really?
Yeah, everyone says Origins is the GOAT when it comes to the first one.
Right.
And it's more strategic. You basically like click an enemy, your guy auto attacks until you
win.
Use actions and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more strategy to it. more control over your companions. So people are probably gonna say that one's the best. But level design wise, this is almost more like Dragon Age Origins.
Okay.
Because I heard people complaining that it wasn't gonna be open world and it's gonna be more linear. And I think people assume that it'd just be like linear as fuck. There's no exploration whatsoever. But there's actually a lot. In this
Okay.
game.
Well, that's I mean, that's a good thing, right?
There's a lot of offbeat paths and whatnot. Yeah.
So it sounds like this game really does step out of the mold considerably from other Dragon Age games.
Yeah, it's a big departure, and I think they're trying to take the series into a new direction.
What's the strongest similarities between the games? I mean, obviously they are attached together by a lore. But I mean, like mechanically, like is there anything about it that's what about this game feels familiar?
It feels more like Mass Effect Andromeda.
So it doesn't. So you don't get the. I mean, you're not getting a sense of familiarity.
How it plays, yeah. But it doesn't, yeah, it's way too action-based to be compared to the other Dragon Ages.
That's a huge, I mean,
There were a lot more static. Your character just kind of stood in place and swung.
What does that mean for you, since you're someone who's played all the Dragon Age games and obviously likes them to a pretty significant degree?
This one's going to be my favorite combat system, Dragon Age Veil.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of the action-based guy anyway. The combat is fun, but the enemies can be very spongy.
They can tank.
Yeah, like I was doing something way above my pay grade in early game. Like I was like level 8, and then I stumbled across this level 25 boss that unlocks shit later. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Maybe I'll go down real quick, and then I can just reload and do something else.
Right.
And I could actually sit there for probably an hour just fighting this boss and just dodging everything, because the combat's pretty easy. It's just, yeah, they get very spongy. And about like 10 minutes into the fight, I just stood there. I'm like, fuck this. So a couple of reviewers actually turned down the difficulty, not because it was hard, just because you want to get through combat encounters quicker.
Right. There's a lot more to appreciate it. I mean, like I play campaigns on easy or normal, depending on the game. Sometimes I want to play normal. Sometimes I just want to get through the campaign. Like, I'm here for the story. You don't have to hard sell me on like the mission difficulty. I mean, back in like Modern Warfare, back in like OG Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4, right? In the original series, people were playing the Modern Warfare campaign on veteran difficulty. I was like, dude, that's not fun. That's like, you can't play through the first mission. Like you get like you get one tapped by AIs.
No, in those games it's not fun. You play the game on like rookie or normal or whatever, and then you go to veteran just because you got bored with it and you want to be.
You want to be a little.
You want
harder.
Achievements, and you already know every level like the back of your hand.
Yep.
Because otherwise, holy shit.
I love sniper missions in the OG Call of Duty Modern Warfare franchise,
dude.
Because they just fed you infinite bots, and you just got to sit there and just it was just turn your brain off and pick off enemies with a sniper. You're completely safe. Just have fun.
Yeah, I remember doing veteran difficulty on MW2, the Flavilla.
Yeah. Oh no,
that was the worst experience of my entire life.
That I would expect.
I've seen a man die.
I've seen a man die.
That was horrible. But yeah, no, level design, combat, all good. I'm perfectly fine with it.
So should we move into talk about the culture war? Well, actually, did you answer on where you thought this game ranked among the others as far as like
I can't really place it yet because I'm probably like a third of the way through it.
Do you expect, so you and I, so we've been talking about it a little bit. Do you expect the culture war aspects of this game to impact your final verdict? And we're not
probably not, because I'm like skipping where they're at. I mean, we can go into the culture war part right now.
I think we should.
It's like the first part is like character creation. They got the pronouns, they got the gender. I didn't really go through the gender to see if you can pick anything else, and then they got the top surgery scars way at the bottom of the list of scars. And that was like the first big problem everyone had with it.
Right. Because
and you can't make the Qunari look like fucking Qunari. They look like blue dudes with horns.
Yeah, so what story should we start with? Let's go look at Grum's reporting. So Grum's on Twitter. Sorry, I gotta get ahead here. So we got, I don't know if you guys could see the spike here, but you have this pretty steep spike in Monster Hunter wild beta tests. So So the source Steam Dragon Age Veilguard versus Monster Hunter Wilds beta. So this would be players right now as of October 31st, so that would be Thursday. You had 460,000 players on the new Monster Hunter game versus a little less than 50,000 on Dragon Age Veilguard. The 24-hour peak, obviously, all of these numbers are this one shot.
That is really good for a fucking beta.
It's amazing for a beta, and I think we got the benefit of having Tyler come on the podcast and telling us how excited he was and how popular this game was going to be. So I think we had a sneak preview into that
Doesn't
success
this game
a little bit.
come out in fucking February?
It's still a ways away, yeah. And a beta for a game like this, I would expect to carry months. Like I would expect it to be months before
close the beta?
or before they close, or not before they close it, but before the official releases. Because you also need to make room.
They need to work on it and stuff yet. We'll see what players have found wrong with it.
Yeah, and you need to make. I mean, that also leaves room for a potential alpha testing too. Oh no, not alpha testing, but what's post beta for a test? I mean,
When they go gold, that means the game's completed. What the
Okay.
fuck, I don't remember.
I thought there was an in between. I might be wrong, but basically, Dragon Age Veilguard released on. So they both released at the same time. I didn't know that. Or the beta released on October 31st. The Dragon Age Veilguard released on on Thursday as well. So they both released at the same time, and people seem to have been much more excited for. I think we can attribute some quantity of these numbers to the culture war related stuff with this.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bad press around Veilguard.
And we've talked about it on the channel too. It's not like we're claiming ignorance. Like, no, we talked about the Top Scar stuff. We talked about the fact that there was going to be a new art style. They were changing things up and going a different direction.
The only question I had is, how gay is the whole game going to be?
Well, and it became pretty gay.
So far for me, though, it hasn't. There's two instances. One was the character creator, which I like that they brought back origins in this, where your character has like a defined backstory that you can choose from.
Right.
And then another one is you're like setting up your room or whatever in your new base, and you're going through your shit, and you lay down this mirror that Varric gives you, and then it's like you got a couple dialogue options on the right side, or you can reflect on like scars that you've gotten, or mental scars, blah, blah, blah. Or you can reflect on gender.
I
then
think
it goes into like these three options, like pick how gay you are kind of thing.
so. I want to watch and react because I have not seen this yet. I knew it existed, but there was a scene. So there was a scene in the game where it's talking about pronouns, and you probably understand this better than I do, so maybe you could summarize it better. But one thing I wanted to throw out there was that in the game, in the Dutch version, when they were releasing this in German, you had when they released it in German, this scene was actually this cutscene was put in the German version in English. That was one of the controversies around the.
Oh, so the Germans were like, "Fuck that, we're not voicing that."
Well, no, the Germans. The Germans
you think
just
they would, because they're pretty left.
Well, it affected the players. We got Planks in the chat. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Good to see you. Really excited for tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Shout out any questions you got. We got Cody in here. He's an expert on Dragon Age. He's like a genius. He's a genius on Dragon Age, and I am the smartest on everything else. But yeah, so the I'm sorry.
I like how I wasn't even gonna fight you on that.
The scene,
let it slide.
let it go. Let it go. Let me have this. I'm so low. The scene itself in the German version was in English. I don't know what to attribute that to. I don't know if it was the voice actors refusing to do it. I kind of doubt it, considering I don't.
There could have been a number of things.
It could have been a number, and it seemed to me to be the most likely that it was probably just an issue, like a glitch.
Could be.
Like it's still the first week of the game being out. Like it's not like it's impossible that a cutscene was the wrong cutscene.
For it, just being released, it's pretty fucking polished. I haven't had any like bugs or crashes or anything really.
So we are going to live react. We're gonna live react to this. I have not seen it. Cody, you've seen it, but you haven't played it yet. Like you have not.
I haven't gotten to this part yet.
Okay, so let's go. Let's turn it on. Let's see what the fuss is about.
Pounding that snake's nose, she's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
What the fuck?
Ah, shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Talking about the horn
Pulling
chick
him up.
there. She's the queer.
Okay.
A bar of
Is she just doing push-ups?
Pause it real
Lords
quick.
of Fortune.
Okay, yeah, I have so many questions. Okay, What was the controversy? She mispronounced someone, or
She said she.
she said
And then
she.
She's like, ah, fuck, it's they. And now she's punishing herself by doing push-ups.
Push-ups.
And then in the next minute and like 30 seconds is just gonna be like how apologies aren't good enough and blah 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 blah. I mean,
Well,
you can continue to play it.
I will.
Oh, by the way, this is Isabella. She's from Dragon Age 2, and she wouldn't give a fuck about offending anyone.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that clarifies quite a bit.
From one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big, drawn-out apologies. So,
Wait, so I mean, that's just saying what's true. There's not time for apologies at all.
Yeah.
So it keeps going.
It keeps going.
when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a Barv.
You got
There we go.
to fix your mistakes, bro. Only 5 push-ups? Jesus, you're like a super warrior fighting.
I'm
Push-ups.
glad the Lords of Fortune have Tasha's back.
Yeah.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
Dear
It was a
God.
little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours. Oh. Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of
I
them,
highly
too.
doubt that.
Yeah, that's not true, liar. Fake news.
Any reason you can't just apologize?
Sometimes people say, oops, sorry, and hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a Barv, you sweat a little. Makes
Dude.
you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
What if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them.
Like you just did
you know-
you just did a bunch of push-ups.
It's
Like
a 2-minute fucking lecture about apologizing to gendering someone.
Planks, Planks is in the chat. He says my arms would be massive if I was in this universe. Dude, you're a giant.
That would be jacked.
You are a colossal human being. You actually people would say you're on steroids, looking like Zac Efron.
Yeah, there's this, and then there's also another scene that I just fucking saw before this podcast.
I want to finish this out though. There's only 10 seconds left, or
I don't know how
20
mu-
seconds left.
yeah.
There's 20 seconds left.
Mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose. They feel so bad about it that it's on everyone else to smooth it over and make them feel better.
Holy crap! Projection.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a Barv puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
Holy shit!
Gay.
There's so much about that. I have. Okay, first off, the lack of self-awareness with the fact that she just did what she was complaining about people doing. It's like,
Alright.
you just make the whole thing about you. You literally stood up, walked across the room, and did 5 push-ups in front of everyone, and the other person didn't. The other person didn't even seem to react at all. Like, I hate this shit. Like, this is like, okay. This doesn't move the needle. You've already seen this, and we've already talked about it. This doesn't move the needle for you at all. Like in the like, here's
Yeah,
what.
it might. I don't know. I haven't gotten to it yet, but it is pretty fucking annoying. Another thing to go on with like this PC shit is that the game, like the dialogue throughout this game, is pretty vanilla. There's no, like, you can't be an asshole. You can't offend anyone ever. I heard it from, I think, Skill Up, the reviewer. He said it's like having conversations with people with HR in the room with you. So it's very like you can't offend anyone.
That would
else.
be hard.
You
to
can't even piss off your companions by like leaving them
Well,
to do something.
I think this leads into like my main question of this segment is where should we recommend players be when it comes to games that have messaging inserted into them? It used to be the case that if you had a strong female character in your video game, you just played the game and the culture war wasn't relevant because you were having fun, you weren't being preached to, you were just appreciating and enjoying a game.
right.
That's not what this is.
No.
This was a
That was preachy.
This was a 2-minute TED Talk on pronouns in video games that I imagine the scene could be skipped or cut or like you could get through it
Yeah,
quickly.
like if I encounter that scene, I'm just gonna be hitting circle really fucking fast and skipping through everything.
Okay, so my question is what amount of this stuff in a video game should people tolerate for the sake of enjoying their own game?
I mean, it depends on the person, really. Like, say I never played a Dragon Age game, I just want to pick this one up based on that, pretty much based on that alone.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been playing this series since 2009. I was gonna review it either way, if it sucked or if it was the gayest game ever.
You're gonna talk about it,
I was gonna talk about it.
right? And we're
But-
very inclusive. We want to review gay games like this
Gay
one
games.
exclusively.
And oh man, they go balls to the wall with purple in this game.
I thought you were
I'll
gonna
tell
say
that.
balls deep, but
No, not
yet. Sorry, but so
But like other Dragon Age games also had like you could fuck other dudes or chicks in
Dragon Age.
in Dragon Age.
So
It's not a new thing. It's just this preachy new age California shit is what's really the issue here.
but should we?
Because
Okay,
no one really gives a shit about being gay or lesbian. It's like you throw it in everyone's face and you make that your only personality trait. That's what everyone fucking hates.
that's the frustrating thing about it. Absolutely. So, okay, so you're a fan of Dragon Age. People who are a fan of Dragon Age will probably continue to enjoy this game, even though there's new things about it. And the culture war stuff, the woke, and just for clarification, like I've seen in comments people like, well, you don't even know what woke means. It's like, for me, how I understand woke to mean is it's the crux of identitarianism. It's the practice. It's
Identity politics.
Yeah, it's the praxis of identitarianism and identity politics. Like, if all you can engage with is race, sexuality, like if those are the things that drive your worldview, then I would ascribe to you the title of, or the qualifier of woke. That's how I do it. It's not like I use woke and I'm just like, oh, throw this in the title. It's going to be super fun to watch the fight. No, I actually mean that your ideology is so poisonous that it can literally call it something and characterize it
Right.
with this word.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean.
But I think the overall discourse around the game,
Do you think it's overblown?
I think it's overblown a bit.
Well, this
Because like, okay, I was what the hell? I saw something. There was a couple like Steam reviews or whatever. It's like, don't buy, super gay, woke, blah blah blah. But you can see people's playtime
Mhm.
in the reviews,
And see
the highest one was an hour and a half,
yeah.
and then you left a negative review because what? In the first hour and a half, you're chasing down Solus, which is an elven god, to stop him from a ritual, and it's
Well,
actually kind of cool.
What gay in this game can you even experience in the first hour? Just the character creation?
What gay in this game can you experience?
Well,
That's a hell of a sentence, bro.
It's structure.
That
What
might be
noun?
that might be my favorite.
I use
sentence.
gay as a noun. What
What gay in this game can you experience?
like what
Just
specifically within the first
character-
hour?
Just a character creator, really.
That's the only thing you can reach in the first hour.
I mean, you
that
got this ripped bar owner chick, but you can beat the shit out of her.
yeah. Well, I mean,
It's very.
I'm
inclusive.
very strong,
Yeah.
and she probably deserved it. Sorry,
But otherwise, no, it's not gay.
not gay.
Nothing gay has come up until 4 hours in. You got that mirror thing. or
Yeah,
just
yeah.
A couple hours in, and then I'm 14 hours in and haven't experienced the gay.
Well, I'm curious. So, like,
I mean, you can hit on other companions, so that could be gay, but
yeah. So Plank says it really well in the chat. So the reaction is overblown because we are on the backside of the pendulum swing and of reacting to woke games. I agree with the sentiment you guys are both saying. My issue is that this, at the end of the day, still costs people money, and there is the culture war is not over.
no.
Like, these people are still the dominant power in the creation of video games, media, entertainment. And even though there's been course correction, you won't convince any of these people they've made a singular mistake.
No.
So
they're always right.
So I think that the backlash is probably appropriate even to this smaller scale. And I mean, I want people to enjoy the video games they want. When someone comes up to me and they say, I enjoyed Rings of Power, my perspective of them changes significantly, but I'm glad people
Like,
find...
oh, that's cute. You're stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad people find content to enjoy. Genuinely. I genuinely want people to find content to enjoy.
Right.
I think the audience, the small audience has been, like, the very small audience who appreciates the modern audience. Sorry, I was trying to get to what the modern audience has gotten so much content, and there's so few of them. Now I'm like, okay, let's get back to, like, making good stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when it comes to games like this, I don't think the small stuff should be brushed off, especially in this game with that 2-minute like TED talk.
Yeah,
If
well,
it
and
was-
there's a scene earlier. I'm assuming it's earlier. Like I think she comes out to her mom as non-binary. It's like a sit down. There was a video with a laugh track behind it. She like brings up some food, slams on the table, sits down. She's like, "I'm not non-binary," and the laugh track kicks on and stuff. And it actually worked pretty well. But,
So
yeah, it's just scenes like that, and the way the game's playing so far. I think you can just recruit her and just never talk to her or have her in your party.
well, but
She's gonna be in like major like story scenes, I suppose.
all the same, I just really appreciate that. I really appreciate that there is still criticism being brought out. I think the closest I'm willing to come to the middle on this is that there's too much of it for as little as this game has. You could probably have singular like you have Yellow Flash is a content creator who I absolutely love. I watch him. I get a lot of inspiration from his content and really enjoyed listening to his takes on things. But he's made 3 videos in the last couple of days about Dragon Age Veilguard, and there's been 2-3 issues. All of those could be one conversation, and then we could move on. And Dragon Age will get the proportionate reaction to it.
Another part would probably be like how they everyone is so like diverse all the time.
Right.
It's like you can live in the far north or whatever, and you got like black communities and stuff, or in the south with like deserts and whatnot. You got the whitest people. It's like no one's ever like from a certain area. You're
Right.
just all, yeah. Like I didn't even realize I was playing the game. I didn't even fucking realize it. A long ways in, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an Asian elf, a black elf.
Right,
This,
'cause-
and now they're all here. But
Well, depending on where you draw your source from, there wouldn't be any diversity in elves. I mean, it depends on where you draw your sources from,
Right.
how far back into history you go to what writers who created it and whatnot. So yeah.
but yeah, no.
I mean, okay, I want to,
I've been enjoying the game.
so you think genuinely that the criticism is just overblown, and do you wish that it would just not have happened? Like the criticism
No,
against the game, like, do you think it has a place in the
No,
dialogue?
it definitely need to be said, and people need to know about it.
Okay.
But the overreaction, basically, I would say almost killed this game.
Fair enough.
But yeah, if you don't have a tolerance for it at all, then it's fine.
Yeah, so Planks, so we see Benjamin in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Enjoy your drawing. Plank says new Call of Duty is one where I think they did diversity correctly, where it was feasibly organic. I actually agree with that. Diversity in that game isn't really even a factor. And I haven't played through the campaign yet, so I still have to see if there's an issue in it, but I haven't heard anything, so I'm not expecting there to be. Let's finish out these news stories because we still have 2 more topics to get to, and we're already over time. So BioWare allegedly scrambles to remove gameplay footage of Dragon Age Veilguard Virtue Cringe. So on October 30th, before the release, they were trying to get that plunged, it sounds like, and get rid of that.
That we just saw.
Yeah, the scene we just saw.
Yeah.
So Mark Kearns, that's Grums, definitely was the source we were just watching for where it goes from. EA and BioWare are yanking this clip off the internet as fast as it can be posted within minutes. They know it's terrible, just like the rest of the game. Watch it while you still can. So I think his perspective on there is pretty obvious and candid. I think he is not a fan of the game, but I'd be curious to know how much he actually played of the game, or if he's kind of where I am on this, where it's like
Just covering the news around
it, because I am just covering the news around it. I have not played it. I don't personally intend to, but I appreciate that you know as much as you do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying it, but it's supposed to be an RPG. There's very little choice and consequence in this game. You're just kind of going through the motions.
Right, and that's frustrating.
Annoying.
Well, BioWare
They're known for their choices and shit in
Yeah, I
gaming.
was gonna say that. It's like Mass Effect.
But
It's
this
like
ain't the same BioWare it was years ago.
in Mass Effect. I think it's Mass Effect 3. Your decisions actually impact the ending of the game. Like,
well,
right?
throughout 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. So that's right.
The choices carry over.
They all lead into the next game. That is still such a huge and well designed.
They were doing that
system.
with this too, with the Dragon Keep, where you can just pick and choose what happened in the game before. And then this one, you get 3 choices of what happened before.
Well, the Asmongold gets banned from Dragon Age subreddit. So actually, we off the podcast we reacted last night to a clip of Asmongold going through a dialogue tree.
That was
with
the mirror thing.
with the mirror. And like Cody said, it is avoidable So, or you could choose a different.
One you don't have to pick it, and he was saying like there were 3 options, and each one led to trans. He's like, I'm forced to be trans, and then on the bottom left there was a back button.
Yeah. So it's I don't believe
you picked an option that says fucking think about gender.
Well,
what do you think it's gonna lead?
Well, I highly doubt he's being disingenuous with this in the sense that like, oh, he's like, first off, Asmongold does not need to garnish clickbait. Like, he doesn't need to. He's one of the biggest streamers that exists. And his platform is huge. So I don't think it was done to be like, look, I got a 30-second clip of me being frustrated at the dialogue tree. Right. I genuinely believe when I was watching that he actually had the I believe he believes, right? It's like I like reacting to someone's perspective, but I watched I watched that interaction. I've seen some of his other interactions with Veilguard, and I think it's just a general sentiment that my half of the conversation is just so over this that the small things are not allowed to be got away with anymore. Like, you have to kill this in its crib.
Yeah.
That's where I think
you got a baby Hitler this shit.
Yeah.
Just choke it out.
Yep. It's got a baby Thanos do the
shake.
shake. But Asmongold being banned from Reddit, he's had kind of an interesting interesting arc here the last couple of weeks, where being banned from Twitch,
fucking up and down.
Twitter. And did you see the he posted
I thought he cleaned his house.
He posted a picture of his cleaned house, and it's kind of like a mildly less dirty room. It's like, and he showed a receipt he had from the Bush administration from a restaurant he bought food from. Like a receipt from the restaurant. Like, the receipt was dated to back during the Bush administration. So that's how far back that's how deep that mountain was to be buried on. So I think do we have anything else with no? So I think that covers it for Dragon Age Veilguard. Any final thoughts on it that you want to cover? Otherwise,
I'm gonna keep playing it. We'll see how gay it gets, I guess.
Fair enough. All right, we have another story to get into. Let's move on to our next story, and this one's going to be politics.
Jack is going to love this one.
Planks is going to love this. Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into third-party politics. Woodly wood. We need a transition or something for third-party politics, because I don't like putting in the title of the video, so we need something to categorize it that isn't like in the title.
Right.
I'm nitpicking. Next topic is Marvel's Avengers stars mocked for cringe-inducing campaign push with joke that isn't well received. We're going to watch this campaign ad and we're going to react to it. Both of us have seen it. I don't know if you guys in the audience will have seen it, but hopefully we'll have some fun laughing together.
Who wants some cringe?
Let me just clarify my position on this, that I was actually very surprised at a couple of these people participating. Like, I didn't expect Scarlett Johansson to participate. I didn't expect Robert Downey Jr. to participate. Don Cheadle I didn't expect to participate.
Don Cheadle, yeah, I would.
Paul
Bettany, he's fucking British. Get out of here. You don't matter.
You don't get a vote.
Yeah, you don't get a vote.
You lost your vote in 1776. You lost. Get over it. Cry more. You have your own stuff to deal with.
Let's watch this video.
Let's do it. So
it's so bad.
Oh, actually, boom.
Our pleasure.
Sorry, skipped ahead. I wanted to blow it up a little bit for you guys. Oh, not that big. Let me just zoom in. Sorry. Okay, so I reposted a post from Tim Young, the cast of the Avengers, who now look like they all have terminal illnesses, say down with democracy and tear down democracy in support of Kamala. This doesn't quite hit the way they intended it to. Yeah, let's have some fun with this. All right, let's go.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Hi. Hey, Scarlett.
Jumping on the call.
I think you mean assembling. I said assembling. Don, that's pretty good. No, they thought it was funny.
Scarlett, it is our pleasure to come together and to get the vote out this election. Come on.
Yeah, how can we be of service?
Well, how about we start with what our voting plans are going to be, who we're going to bring to the polls with us, that sort of thing. Just to...
I think.
Okay, so you just got to pause a few seconds in while we're reacting, because we don't want the live stream to be taken down just because of like a bad campaign ad. So
can you get copyright struck on a campaign ad?
I have no idea. I expect so. But anyway, it's their original content. These are actors. I don't know. But yeah, a very large cast of the ensemble is in this campaign ad. Mark Ruffalo, you can't even pretend to be surprised Mark Ruffalo is participating in this campaign ad.
If you want like a poster child say like excessive use of marijuana can really fuck with your brain,
You would play this
show
ad.
them Mark
you
Ruffalo.
You show them this ad. But all of the actors in this look horrible. Like none of them are ready to be on camera. I mean, they're all on Zoom, but
They all
I mean,
got a script, and it's like, all right, sit down in front of your computer. We'll have a couple takes and chop it all together.
I don't think that they're definitely handed the script for sure, but I think this was all volunteer. I don't think these guys got money for this, or if they did, I bet it was.
No, they definitely got some
You think
money.
they got money?
Yeah.
Here's my take on this: is that like this kills this kills future Avengers projects for a lot of people.
Well, they're all dead.
Like, well, it's true. RDJ's coming back.
Whoop-de-doo.
So Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doctor Doom.
Okay.
But the
The more I think about it, the worse it gets.
the issue is that you have culture war icons now being, or like you have adult pretenders coming out, and now they're in politics and they're making it impossible. I can't look at Dwayne The Rock Johnson and see a good movie anymore. Like, and
Well,
not
I can't just because he sucks.
that's without
The second part is also.
well, and I can't see a Mark Ruffalo project without knowing politics, and now I can't. Not through any fault of my own. It's not my fault that you drowned out any of your acting talent, because it would be a ridiculous argument to make that these guys are not talented actors.
Well,
But, I mean-
if you were influenced by an actor of which way to vote, you lose your voting privileges.
We're authoritarian. We're taking it away. No, just. But the
Got a lot of thoughts on voting.
we got Let's keep going. We got it's another minute and a half. So
Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
How about this? I'm just off the top of my head. I can do this all day.
boo.
up. I hate it.
You suck.
Okay.
I mean, it's original, but
What about something punchier like
Oh, boom! You looking for this?
Iron Man 2? Everybody loved it.
okay. Again, I think we're just trying to get out.
Okay,
This
so
is so bad.
there's so many failed jokes in the first minute of this. It's painful. Like, I think you could make the argument. They're having fun with it, and I know my understanding is that these guys are all pretty
I think
close.
they've all been day drinking.
Fair enough. I mean, well, like Mr. Pot called. He wants his kettle back. But it's a Coke.
Yeah, it is.
But no, these people are making these failed jokes are not landing. If you really want to convince people, I think the majority of people are strongly convinced by policy.
I think this will turn more people off than actually get people in.
I think the most dangerous thing regarding Kamala Harris and winning was probably Taylor Swift's endorsement, because you have a lot of young people who are like a lot of young people who are not smart and could be swayed. There's a lot of smart young people. It's not controversial to say there's dumb young people and smart young people.
I mean, if there was a portion of the population we could just hit the erase button on.
Be no, no, we're not gonna do that, Cody. We're not gonna Thanos.
I didn't name anyone.
We're not gonna Thanos snap the Democrats.
I didn't say that.
Yes,
You did.
You said it. No, I said we're not gonna do that.
I mean, I was going to go with Swifties, but
We're absolutely screwed on this. It's gonna be such a hard one to finish. All right, let's keep going.
Out the vote.
Kamala forever.
That's better.
Okay, how about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean, it's simple.
Okay, I like that.
It's hard to argue with that.
Kamala Harris down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say down with democracy.
I don't know if that sounds the way we want it to sound.
No, it absolutely. It sounds exactly the way you want it to sound. It sounds exactly the way you want it to sound.
what's funny is they understand the joke, but then they continue the joke like they don't get it.
Right. Yeah. Half the cast pretends they get it. Half the cast pretends they don't get it, and it's
They just continue, and the end of the ad is, well, I mean,
yeah. We'll get there, but yeah, we'll keep going.
It's ridiculous.
No.
I think we just need. Can we get some production though?
Jarvis?
My name's not Jarvis, but whatever.
Oh yeah. That's right. Down
Damn
with
it. I
democracy.
wanted to catch
Down
that.
with democracy.
Is that what we mean, though?
Yeah, together we're gonna tear down democracy.
Will you stop playing heroic music unto yourselves?
I'm Kamala Harris, and I am down with democracy. Did I sound enough like her on that one?
That was great. How many Golden Globes have you been nominated for?
That was probably the funniest joke. It's like asking.
Oh my god. Now I want a day drink.
The Jarvis joke was actually pretty deep. So Planks likes it. Planks likes the Jarvis joke. Paul Bettany, I I love each of these actors, break them out into a new project, and I might even be considered to, I strongly consider go seeing them. I like watching these people like pretend, but the fact that this Kamala's strategy of paying actors to continue to push for her streamers, you had so many streamers,
TikTokers, yeah.
Who was it? Kai Cenat, like, actually outs them. He's like, I don't want, like, Secret Service has been harassing me.
Keeps calling me.
So I'm like, you're getting outed by these people as much as you're getting like their endorsements.
Wasn't he offered like 50 grand or some shit too?
I think it was probably closer to 15, but
15?
like we don't know the hard number, so it's hard to say. But
right.
I think that's actually. I think that's the end of the ad. I think it's just like
I don't want it anymore.
We're done. We'll finish up, but we'll finish up on that story. But ultimately, the point is that this killed any excitement I had for seeing Robert Downey Jr. on screen. Like, I understand this. I understand the disdain for the idea of bringing back RDJ into the MCU. I understand that perfectly, but I was optimistic to see. I thought RDJ casting as a Doctor Doom could be really, really good. I was actually excited.
There's a lot of better options, though.
There are, and I'm not saying there aren't, but it's like perfect being the enemy a good argument isn't like strong. Isn't very strong.
Well,
there.
I mean,
It's
they're
like,
just doing more fucking multiverse shit too.
Yeah.
So I'm over it, dude.
Yeah.
I don't care.
All of these people are still very much employed by Marvel. So this is Disney at work. So this is Disney, Marvel. This is everything superhero related is going.
$1 billion companies, and that was the best script that they could come up with.
That was horrible. Well, honestly, it's pretty on par with their normal scripts.
Maybe the guy was high the night before, and he was just like, "Oh shit, I forgot to write this political ad."
You noticed there were a few names missing though. Who was from this ad? Like Chris Hemsworth, and
also not American, so he can't vote.
Right. He could still encourage people to vote.
You're right.
Australian based. Then you had who was also absent from this that I could recognize. Is that
Jeremy Renner?
Jeremy Renner. Yep. Him. Man, there's
because this is more of the OGs, except for one.
Except for Hemsworth.
Except for the token, the OG Avengers.
Yeah, the OG Avengers. Except who?
Except for the token.
Are you talking about Chad Brunswick? No, is that who it is? Who's Black Panther? Damn it!
I'm talking about the lady there.
Oh, yeah, she's
not an Avenger.
She should be a Black Panther though. She should have been the Black Panther. It's like
we are also missing Chadwick.
Chadwick, yeah,
he's not in it.
I miss Chadwick. R.I.P. the goat.
No, was he though?
No, he made. Well, he's the best Black Panther.
There's one good.
He's the goat at being Black Panther.
Appearance of Black Panther.
Civil War.
2, I'd say.
Civil War, like, definitely was great.
Yeah, it was in Captain America movies.
All right, so hopefully you guys enjoy that cringe-inducing ad we all get to react to and have some fun together with. At the end of the day, what my main point with that was, like, this kills any excitement, I think, for a lot of people around Marvel. You had actors who were just keeping their piece to themselves, and I don't have a problem with you using your platform to like promote, but this is paid acting. This is super pretending, and it's really bad. Even if you think that they should be out doing the Kamala ad, it's a bad ad.
Well, you know what adult pretenders should be doing?
Pretending,
entertaining me. They're the court jester.
That's right.
You don't get to tell.
They do get paid way too much.
Yeah, I think we should adopt the old Roman way of thinking of what actors are, and that was slightly above prostitute.
Right, right. Well, that's what they do in this film. Blanks calls it out pretty well, actually. He says they all these people have prostituted themselves to the point where I don't think they even know who they are anymore.
Speaking of prostitution,
yeah, that's actually just a direct quote.
Well, yeah, they don't think for themselves.
Right. We got one last story to get into today.
Another one.
We're gonna finish this out. We're already a half hour over. We might as well get one. We might as well cover the last story. This one's gonna be a short one. It's more of just reacting to the story. So there's not a lot of like culture war related stuff to do in here. So let's just have some fun with it. All right, and I do have to zoom in because I don't think you guys can actually see that. So let me go to. So David Wald is very famous voice actor. He's been in a bunch of projects. He's played in My Hero Academia. He's played in Attack on Titan, and he's played in Fairy Tail. Each of those projects alone
Pretty big
projects, and the fact that he has a role in each of them individually says a lot about his talent and where he is in the industry and how significant his role is. He is voice actors are typically contracted by the studios, and so like Crunchyroll and Funimation are the studios we're going to be talking about today, and they I don't know the mechanics of like how they contract, but he's basically an employee or a contract employee for them. He had this to say,
like they would have a agreement, whatever, with the studio,
right?
Like you work for this studio
for each project, but but Crunchyroll does the voice acting for the
right. So he's hired by Crunchyroll.
Exactly.
He would be hired by the individual studios that make the show.
Right. So David, on October 25th, David Wald goes on Twitter, says, "Dear friends, if you sent me anything care of Funimation or Crunchyroll in the last 5 years, I apologize. I didn't get it. I learned yesterday that at Crunchyroll opened my private mail, threw away your letters, and passed out any included items to their staff." So
that's fucking bonkers.
They committed crime. It's like
federal crime,
a big federal crime over 5 years. No, I mean, if you wanted to make the case, you thought he. Sorry, Benjamin said something in the chat. He said, "I thought he was a criminal." I thought that was kind of funny. Considering, yeah, he's bald. He's bald, so crime. That's how that works.
Anywho.
Yeah, he goes on. He follows that up by saying, "Dear fellow workers at Crunchyroll, below is a photo of the complete contents of one of the packages addressed to me that was opened and distributed to employees. If you ended up in possession of any of it, I would very much like it returned to me." So I think that it needs to be caveated by saying that David Wald is very much involved, like political. His Twitter is very progressive, very left-leaning.
Well, he's being very nice about this too.
Oh, this is like he just puts his company on blast.
I'm calling the cops, bro. This is a federal crime.
He could have just called the cops, but like, can you find my mail within this parameter and arrest the people responsible?
A couple thousand employees, and I want them all interviewed.
I'm trying to understand if there is a innocent explanation to this. So the mail goes to Crunchyroll and it goes to Crunchyroll
to David Wald.
Right. Well, it says Crunchyroll, like Crunchyroll address, attention David Wald in probably some of them. Like a portion of them probably say attention David Wald. They're meant to go to him. But the recipient of the mail is, I don't know. I'm probably completely misunderstanding the legalities of a lot of that stuff when it comes to
very devil's advocate.
Right. I'm trying to be as good faith as possible. Crunchyroll does not
some assholes stealing your mail.
Well,
that's the
Crunchyroll has a reputation of being a pretty shitty company, a pretty bad place to work.
I can see that.
And so I'm not trying to like fan that flame. I'm trying to understand how big this problem actually is and put a perspective of scale on it. Because we've had this news going around Twitter. It's been reacted to a bunch. The original post having 13,000 shares, 7 million interactions with the post. Crunchyroll had a response 4 days later. So it took them 4 days to publish this paragraph response. So from Crunchyroll, anime fans have a special connection with dub voice talent, and that emotional expression is important in fueling more love of anime content. We are currently investigating the matter regarding the allegation of undelivered fan mail to a voice actor. We respect the privacy of all our voice actors and do not intentionally open mail or packages not intended for Crunchyroll. Any fan mail should be sent directly to talent and their management. So breaking that down, working backwards, fan mail should be sent directly to talent and their management.
It's not our fault. It's your fault.
You didn't send it to the right place. The other thing is we respect the privacy of all of our voice actors and do not intentionally open mail. It's like, we did nothing wrong. They already are saying we did nothing wrong and
I mean, there's always going to be like a political response when any company is having allegations pointed at them. They're not going to be like, "Oh yeah, fuck, my bad.
Right.
Here's your stuff back, bro."
No, I know, but I love we're going to investigate ourselves and find nothing wrong.
And find ourselves not guilty.
Exactly. I love that. So, I mean, this says a lot about what this statement says more than I think Crunchyroll intended to say with it. I don't get the sense they're going to take it seriously. I think David Wald will probably stay on this though, because I mean, if you're as famous of a voice actor as he is, and you're having this issue, there are probably smaller voice actors who are identifying this issue for the first time as a result of you making it public. Mm-hmm. So this is probably going to, I predict this will unveil into something a bit bigger. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll keep you.
There's some low level voice actors like, oh, I thought no one liked my characters, but here someone's been stealing my fan mail.
Exactly. And I mean, it's not great fan mail. I mean, I wouldn't like, you're getting flowers and a bunch of stickers and a bunch of like
kind of gay drawings.
They're not great. So, but I mean, honestly, it's like if you work hard in your industry, your fandom is sending you stuff, you
appreciate the sentiment.
You appreciate the sentiment. I mean, we love it when you guys leave a like on our video and subscribe to the channel and share the video.
Leave a like, subscribe, and don't say anything.
You know what makes us so happy is like, oh, and comment below what you think of the videos.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, I'm not gonna read them, but
I will.
Talks does. He likes to start fights.
I love starting fights. It's my favorite thing. So that's the story. We will keep you guys posted if there's any major updates on that, or at least we'll try to bring it up in the future if we find out what happens as a result of that, or if there's any more. But I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Third Party Podcast. We really hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, just a reminder, consider subscribing. It's free. It's the best way to help us grow the channel and to show your support. Smash that like button. Comment below what your thoughts on the video are, and if there's any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Thank you guys so much. We're going to leave it there.